Colleen. You never really get to see her because she's hiding behind the camera, and I just spent like the last 15 minutes begging, and then just said, why don't you just put another chair there, and didn't ask anymore.
Yeah,
Colleen!
I'm not used to being in front of the camera.
No, she was not prepared either.
Bear
but...
with me.
Hi, Lumineers! Welcome to the Lighter Side Show. I'm Jamie Butler. I will be your host today. Today we're going to talk about contracts and karma. Is it real or is it man-made? Before we get into that, I do have a little bit of house notes. The basic mediumship course that's online, it's live streaming, so you'll be able to ask questions, and I send you a little goodie gift box before we start class that you'll be using. There's only 9 spots left. I'm so excited, guys. This is going to be fantastic. And you need to register by September 20th because I do send out those little gift boxes. I'm already putting them together.
I'm posting links.
Are you?
I'll be looking at my computer a lot during this live feed.
Yes, and September 29th, if you are local here to Atlanta, we will be doing the Lighter Side Live with Darshana Patel, and she's going to talk about energy healing, how that works, and going to do some demonstrations. And then the night after, on the 30th, we have a public channeling. Grace and Maitland always show up, and then we have a guest speaker. For right now, I can't remember the topic, but I know it's been picked.
Self-love.
There you go. That's normally like a February topic when we get into Valentine's month, but self-love it is. Then we have some other things. I'm actually going to be speaking at California State, St. Bernardino, in October 12th and 13th.
I think you're speaking on the 13th.
I'm speaking on the 13th, but I'm going to slide into some classes on the 12th, but those students might not know. And there's going to be a big lecture on channeling. I think a lot of Grace, Maitland, I don't know who else is showing up for it, but if you're in that area, come by and get a ticket, head over to the university and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll post all of those links as soon as I get them from the school.
We do pretty good at that. All right, let's start. You guys, send in your questions as we're talking. If you're thinking of a question, I want you to drop it in because I'm going to ask that Colleen read everything as it comes in. And that way we can build the conversation the way that you would like to hear it.
We will do our best.
So, contracts and karma, we hear a lot of this as being something that will help us learn kind of right from wrong. And it also feeds our human need to go ahead and know that there's going to be some repercussion if something that we see and we deem or judge as negative or bad. A lot of people like to throw out, oh, like the example of Hitler, let's talk about Hitler and everything that he did. I still understand that's recent history, and that's probably why only he keeps showing up into the conversations. But I also hear a lot of, what about with rape, being mugged? You know, we have a long list, being murdered. I mean, these are all things that we're not putting on our visual collage board in the morning to attract to us, and rightfully so. It's not like we want those things, but at the same time, I think the humanness of us needs to have some kind of title or concept of why this happens. It's an explanation of why it happens. You with me so far? So what's happening is when I've been meditating, growing up with this, when I was young and growing up with it, they used to tell me that, you know, there is no right and wrong. And as a kid, you know, that felt totally okay. Because I didn't want to be wrong, because I didn't want to be punished, and I thought, wow, if I believe in this, then I'm golden. I can do anything I want, like jump off the roof, which I did. Anyways, another story for another time. The need for us to know that there is something governing the ideas that we see as negative or wrong helps us feel like things are okay. We as humans need, and it's a need, to be safe. We enjoy being protected, but I believe we need to be safe. And if there's someone out there that's kind of, see, I'm air quoting here, rule breaking, whether it's running around the pool or pulling a knife on someone, rule breaking, then we don't feel as if we're in control in our environment. And so we feel as if we've been breached or we've lost control. It allows fear in. And the concept I want to present today in what I've learned, as I mentioned, young and growing up, that there is no right and wrong. And I'm sure you've heard me attack this topic before. And it tends to sound good and well, but then as we start slicing and dicing it, we start to get, and I'm speaking in general terms, a little upset or angry that it doesn't necessarily fit into our language the way that we would like it to. With having a contract, we get to put a lot of emphasis or blame, like, well, I went through my 2 divorces, and I went to someone and they said, well, it was part of your contract. You needed to learn how to stand up for yourself. And so these were the examples that were done. And it gives us a sense of, oh, so that's why I went through that hell. It was part of a contract. Do you see where I'm getting? It feels good to place it there. And when you see something wrong happening, we can easily resort to, oh, well, karma's going to get that person. Karma's coming back. Or you think you're cursed. Nothing is going well for you. Nothing is going great. And you can say, well, karma's a bitch. So we have a place to defer this, I don't know why it's happening to me. I'm not in control over it. So instead of losing my mind, I'm going to accept these man-made concepts, guys. They're man-made concepts. Are you guys okay? It's pretty quiet out there. I thought I heard crickets for a second. Man-made concepts for us to feel protected, safe, mainly, in our human life. And why they're man-made. And we can get into the history of religion and our belief systems and why they were created. So we go back before government was really running the cities and towns and states and all this. We get into simple tribe nations, and we have a need for explanations of why the sun is coming up, why it's setting, why the weather patterns are happening, floods, all of this. And you can read a lot about it. It's really intriguing. There's stories being told, and this creates a sense of a deity who's in control over what's happening and so forth. So we start telling stories from old history, and we start believing in them. And so with this came the term of karma, that if you were going to do something negative, that there would be a punishment for you. Or if you did something bad in another life and you incarnated into this life, you're going to be paying for what you did in the other one. That's karma. It's coming back for you. The energetic world, the spiritual world, doesn't work tit for tat. There's no judgment there. There's nobody sitting there going, wow, the crap you did in that other life, you're right, it was bad. We can't wait to throw you into this one because we're really going to make you pay for it so you can balance the universe. Do you see? There's no sense of a need of balance. There's no right and wrong. There's no mistake. All that is. Crickets again. It's hard to surrender, I think, what we've learned and what we're coming into. I want to hear some questions.
Okay, so Veronica,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like Veronica, except with a W. Please let me know if I said that right. She says, hi girls. So it was said in previous shows that karma is man-made, which you've just addressed, but I always thought that karma was the same as law of attraction. Can you explain the difference?
Explaining the difference. Law of attraction. What you put out is what you get back. That is not a punishment. Karma is based more on a reward or punishment. Like you're getting something good because of an action you did. So it's simply the way that it's worded, but it's showing the human side that if we are to do something good, we get a reward, a pat on the back, that something above us is judging us and giving it to us. When we look at like attracts like, it's like pretty much taking karma that's a spiritual term, a judgment term, and taking it into a scientific term and making it very straight up and plain. So it's not about a reward and punishment. It's if you put out negativity, you're getting negativity back. It's not because anybody judged you. Like attracts like. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah. What about, sometimes I have a hard time focusing on what Jamie's saying and looking at the questions at the same time. So a lot of times with karma, it's talking about past life stuff. So law of attraction, from what I'm hearing from you, has to do with our present day reality, what we're putting out, we're getting back. there's no such thing as you did this in your third lifetime.
And now it's
Now
coming
you've gotta
back
pay
to
for
haunt you
it,
now.
yeah.
Because we put it on a shelf and remembered it and made sure that you're going to have an incarnation that would be a payback for that torture you did 4 lives ago.
And
It doesn't work like that.
there's a lot of belief systems now, and I've, kind of been involved with some of them that say, in this lifetime, you constantly have to put out good deeds to replace all that bad karma. So what do you have to, you just do good things because you're doing good things.
We do good things
Because you want to.
as humans because I feel that's how we're hot-wired.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're created. We enjoy peace. We enjoy community. We enjoy pleasing people. I think that is our natural state of being. And I think all the suffering, the pain, and the anger comes from not being allowed to give your goodness because you're told to shut up and sit still in class, because you're told what you're offering wasn't good enough. And you chose to believe in what the other person was judging you and started identifying that you're not good enough. And this creates conflict, so you start acting out to be seen the way that you want to. And if you don't get your way, then you can bully your way into it. So for me, the putting out the good is not to mend or heal anything that's happened in the past. I don't believe there's anything, and I've never been taught in my whole childhood or talking to spirits that there was anything that I ever needed to fix in any of my other lives. Surprisingly enough, even when I was rotten in my childhood, like I did something sneaky to my brother, my guides would tell me, Bobby, would sit and tell me, he says, "You're perfect. You're okay." And it's not like he was trying to praise me. He was trying to tell me that the way I acted out was the way I obviously needed to act out. And he wasn't telling me it was good nor bad. He was reminding me that whatever I did was okay. But it wasn't okay for me to keep it a secret or to hide it. They always encouraged vulnerability and honesty. And I think in vulnerability and honesty, we can really own up to Einstein's like attracts like. Because if we start hiding and harboring and storing things on a shelf, then I believe that you can really find a lot of calm and comfort in the term karma, because you're like, I'm not ready to deal with it. I'll probably get hit later on or something else will happen. So I hope that helped.
Yeah,
Keep talking. Yeah.
I'm assuming it can help everybody else too. So I like this question. So Asa, Beatrice, and Nova. So she's asking, when we come here with a contract, we do come here with a contract, but at the same time we have free will, so things may or may not go exactly according to our pre-birth contract, right?
If you were here, I'd hug you.
Maybe, is this where we don't label it a contract?
Yes.
Label it something else. We call it something else, right?
Yeah. The reason I say contracts are man-made. That's the term. When we say contract, we'll immediately draw up something we're familiar to, which would be, I just bought a house and I'm signing that contract that I'm going to pay that debt for a 30-year fixed loan. I don't know why that example came up, but contracts, it's a commitment and you stick to it and you work your focus and your actions in life to all lead to fulfill that contract. So it's more of an entrapping term. It suggests that you don't have another say-so. Like, even if I want to refi, I still have to have 30-year fix. It just looks a little different. I still have to sign the contract. I still have to keep to it. And it suggests that there's somebody like a bank hovering over me going, hey, you didn't pay that bill. You got to come back and pay this bill. But with a contract, there's no God or deity or guide or anything hovering over and going, hey, Asa, you have to do that. You said you were going to do it. You signed the contract. If you don't do it, I'm going to take something away from you. Right? It goes back to the reward punishment. If you don't follow through, we're going to take something else from you. What I've learned is a softer word that we have lessons. We choose certain lives and situations to grow through experience. Human life is all about emotions. We're emotional beings, we're not human beings. We're set up to go through experiences to learn how to honor our emotions, whether we enjoy it or not. It doesn't create karma. it's the level of honesty that we present with our emotions as we're going through it that helps us learn the lessons that we were attracted to for picking that life. And so these lessons can morph and grow, and we can get them again and again. I'm sure some of you Lumineers have already noticed in your life that you've done like the same thing like 5, 6 times. And in the back of your head, you want to believe, like, I must be cursed. I must be doing something wrong. This is insane that
The
this
same
is happening
situation
again.
cycles itself over and
Over and over
again.
and
Yeah.
over again. And you're thinking, what the hell? But it's not that you're cursed, it's that this is what you were attracted to when you picked this life, that you would have many times to practice that tool. It wasn't that you did it wrong the second time, the third time, the whatever. It simply could be, this is the practice you get. Just because you learned how to ride a bike, and then you choose never to pick it up again, then you might get lessons in your life that make you ride a bike. You got to ride a bike to the store. Now you have to ride a bike here. Now you have to, and you're like, I got to ride a bike again? But you know how to do it. It's not a suffering thing, it's a practicing thing. Change of perspective and looking at it. Free will is everywhere. I like the way that you worded it, Asa.
Stephanie Page is asking, simple question but complex, I
Ooh.
think. What should we be filling out time with as humans? Where should our energy be placed?
What should we be filling out?
What should we be filling out time with as humans? And I think I'm interpreting this as she wants to know just what we should be doing if we're not coming from the idea of having karma and be doing all these good deeds for karma. I think, Stephanie, I may be reading into that too much. But there's a lot of belief systems that say you go out you go out there and you volunteer to replace karma. Or you go here and help your neighbor to replace karma. When just coming from the mindset of just being a good person and doing good things because we want to, and because we have full hearts, and not because we're trying to replace anything bad we ever did.
Hello, put the woman in front of a camera and watch what happens.
I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to fill out time as a human. I would focus on emotions. I would really look at how are you feeling. Not what are you doing, not what's your career or your status, not even are you giving to others. Honestly, I wouldn't. I would tone it down to a me, and look at what are you feeling. Because there's so much healing that can come from this. And when you are confident in knowing how you're feeling, and then you can speak from that place, holy cow, the space that you open up for other people to be who they've always wanted to be, but they never knew how to do it because so-and-so was manipulating it, or their work never let them speak up, or their family was abusive and they never asked, how do you feel about that? I mean, it is cathartic. It's amazing. I would start with there. I would fill my time. How do I feel? How am I showing up emotionally? Can I be honest about it? Can I be vulnerable with it? Because there's a level of strength that comes out above and beyond that we don't get to experience every day because, our culture and our society kind of grew so fast. It threw us into industrial times. It started to compartmentalize us into work structures and family roles and titles and expectations that had nothing to do with how we were feeling or even, are you enjoying your life? We have millions of people in our country alone that don't even enjoy their life. They wake up and they can't even find a smile. It's just like a death sentence all over again that they're alive. And come on, that's not a singular person doing that to them. That's an entire community, an environment, a culture, a society. It's kind of what we grew into. I'm getting up on a soapbox. I am. I get irritated that even our marketing and things of that nature kind of toy and don't honor what we're really feeling.
Question?
Sure.
Okay, Elaine Lennox. After we have completed our pre-birth contract and learned the lessons that we came here to learn, are we immediately removed from this life and taken back home, or are we given more human days just to be with our families?
Given more human days to be with your family. I have come across people where I look at my dad, Elaine, and he's one of them. One day I looked at him and I was just shocked. And I said, Dad, you're done. And he kind of looked at me and I was like, I'm looking at your energy and you've learned everything that you wanted to do.
When are you going to say that to me?
Yeah.
Colleen, you're
You're
done.
done.
Oh,
You don't have to learn
thank you.
anything else. I want to say it to me.
And I want to be done.
It is not like my dad didn't end up with any more difficult times. I mean, he still had difficult times, but watching this man, nothing stuck to him. It was just like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And I'm like, Dad, aren't you freaking out? He's like, I don't need to be. And I was like, well, are you in shock? Are you numb? Are you feeling? Are you okay? He's like, yeah. I mean, he's ended up in the hospital 3 times. I mean, just craziness. Cool. Because there's no pending things that he needs to bring forth in his life. He has a sense of completion and his energy shows it. So the way that he experiences trauma and difficulty is extremely different. I call him like little Dad Buddha because that's the way he looks.
When you told him that, Jamie, was he like, yeah, that's right, I know?
He did. He nodded his
He did,
head yes.
yeah.
We were at the dining room table and he was like, huh. And I was like, you did it. You've done it. You've unraveled it. You figured it out for you. And now you just have fun. And he does. He has so much fun. He travels. He goes. But yet, to another case, I was with a best friend of mine, and she called me over. She was having some headaches. And I looked at her. She was talking to me, and I went, wow. I was like, Mary, you're done. I was like, you completed everything. And there was this beautiful moment of silence. And she looked at me and she said, my head really hurts. I have to go inside now. And I remember watching her with such hyper-awareness, the color of her lipstick, the way she smelt, the shirt she was wearing. And as I got into my car, I was like, that's the last time I'll see her. And I was the last person to speak with her. She had a tumor that burst right when she went inside. I saw her in the hospital before they let her go, but I mean, it just goes to show it. For her, it was getting it done and then being able to go. My dad, totally different. He was getting things done, the lessons, and now he's just here to kick back. And so much so that he reminded me the other day, you won't be getting any inheritance money. You know that, right? And I was like, I don't have any expectations. He's like, yeah, we're going to spend that. I was like, you go for it.
Good for him.
You do that.
Good
You
for
spend
him,
it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good for everyone in that situation.
So it is achievable, and you don't have to leave the planet right when it's done. You stay put as long as you want.
I love that. Look, there's Rob. So this question is from Shannon Johnson. I also want to say thank you, Shannon. Shannon is the one who sent us, the Lumineer who sent us all of the Maitland.
Oh my God, that was so
things.
brilliant.
We loved that.
Shannon, that was
Thank you,
awesome.
Shannon. It's nice to thank you with my voice. Okay, so she asks, when we are living our lives in this incarnation fully and authentically, doesn't this carry to our other lives to assist them through the energy links of higher self? So you don't have to do anything for the past lives to fix them when you are living authentically to yourself in the current life.
Yeah, authentic doesn't require any fix. So we got that one down. That was a great way of putting it. It was an excellent question.
I like it.
Authentic doesn't require a fix. It means you're completely aware of all the actions that you're doing. You're owning them. You're being true to yourself. That's authentic. Authentic doesn't mean easy. I don't want you guys to get confused that if you're authentic, then everything goes smooth. And human life isn't about being smooth. Human life is about having all the emotions of the rainbow. Oof. So when you're being authentic, you can imagine that when we're talking about past lives, that you kind of are turning up the dial on all the lives at the same time. So if you have, just say hi to Eric Meadows for a second. I just
Is he right
lost
here?
it. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not telepathic, I can't read your mind, I don't know what you're laughing at, and I don't
So
think
sorry.
that anyone
Nobody else knows either, and
out there knows
I'm
either.
debating whether to say this or not. I very probably won't.
Is it inappropriate?
Yes, it's so inappropriate. Wow.
Can you tone it down, Eric?
God, it comes out of the blue sometimes. And so that's how it works for you too. When you're in a nice meditation or floating through your day, he could just pop up and just, whoa. Or even Maitland, she does the giggling. He was giving an example. He says hi to everybody. Nice crashing mode. When you're on, I can't do the example. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just sexually nasty. We'll just leave it at that.
Can you put it in a different,
Oh God, I don't think I
No.
can. I'm too stuck in the imagery.
okay, well,
But when you're authentic, it raises the bar over all your lives. When you're not authentic, so I want you to get the concept that all your lives are together, like it's a block. I kind of like saying it's a stack of books, and every book has a new life, and every book has chapters in it, and all that we can do in this life is pay attention to the one page and the one work that we're on. That's the best work that we can do. That allows us to be authentic in this life. It allows us to pay attention to how we're feeling. Now imagine if you were authentic in this life, it made the book fatter. It made it more fluffy or attractive, right? Fuller, because life was fuller when you were authentic. So it changes the height of the entire stack. Everything grows from it. Now, if you're not being authentic and you're having one of those lives where, you know, the more, we'll call them less desirables, there really are no mistakes or wrongs, guys, but you can throw out energy that doesn't help you progress, right? And so this can be more sticky, and it can pull onto other lives that have similar lessons and themes. That's why if you are redoing, and we're just saying redoing so you get a concept of linear time, if you're redoing a lesson in this life, that it can heal or feed or change in other lives and grow it. So it's not that it needs to, don't get me wrong, it's not like it needs to do that, but you have the ability to do that.
we are getting a lot of questions. Okay, so the lessons you choose, so the lessons you choose before you were born to work on in this life is something different than karma. What is that called? An
Well,
agreement?
You can say an agreement. That works really well. Enhancements. Because look at it. When you're not in a human life, you're in your afterlife form. Call it higher consciousness, call it your spirit form, whatever. It doesn't need these lessons. So it's not like you're up there going, all right, I've got these 4 stars and I need the 5th one to complete the I'm good to other people badge. So I've got to reincarnate to this life to get the last star. There's no hierarchy, there's no need, there's no structure in that sense. It's just you enjoying an experience that you had before and you want more of it. You want to put yourself in different situations to find your strength or whatever you were attracted to, your ability to love others. So it's more of an agreement, an attraction.
But oftentimes these lessons that we're choosing are not enjoyable.
Oh, yes. And call that the fault of the structure of being human. And so the lack of ease, the it's not going well for me, the I hate this, which
It's horrible.
this is horrible.
Why is this happening? to me?
Why? You would think
What did I
we're
do
talking
bad in
from
my past
experience,
life?
but
We have all been there.
yes, all.
Yes.
No, that's humans. We are designated, we have created, we have taught ourselves that in this world there is right and wrong. There's right and left, there's black and white, and there are positives and negatives. And so when we are learning something, it needs to show up in a judgment scale so that we know where to place it. And a lot of times, and I'm talking about humans, if we are learning stuff through joy, we don't deem it as valuable because joy is the easier emotion. It's crazy, right? But if we are to achieve something through a struggle or through a fight or a perseverance, then we tend to hold on to our lesson with more value because it took more time to get it. And that is just a human thing. That is not a spirit thing. There's just not words for this. I am seriously, Lumineers, I want to start a dictionary. And I got online the other day and I was looking for words that meant the things that I was feeling and going through, and I can't find them. So I would love
I like that, like a little pocket dictionary.
a Lumineer dictionary where we have words that mean these things so that when we're immediately saying it, we're expressing what we mean.
We are getting so many good questions. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so
Hey, Lisa.
this is from, I'll read Lisa's.
Okay.
Lisa Smith. So, a flexible agreement of what you initially want to learn or accomplish with free will to change and grow as you evolve. I think that was in response to something that we had said before.
Yes.
Flexible agreement rather than a contract. I like that.
See, let's create a word that means flexible agreement to enhance a lesson you're attracted to. Boom, let's come up with a word, and that will be our first word in our Lumineer dictionary.
Love it.
Because it's not a contract. A contract, in our human definition, is black and white. You can break a contract, right, and then it's gone. You can get punished for breaking a contract. There's somebody who's telling you that the contract is good or bad, and that's not it. We are in control of everything.
So Laura Nyer, if two people have a contract to be with one another before birth, and one chooses to walk away, is that for the person's spiritual growth or just a human decision?
Or are they just an asshole? You forgot that option.
Well, contracts between people before birth, that is a lot more than just a romantic relationship. That's, right? That's a brother and sister. That's a parent-child. That's a neighbor that you've lived next to for 20 years.
And
Business
sometimes, I was going to say
partners.
even business partner, boss, and employee
Yep.
as well.
I mean, that
You know, that
goes
you-
huge.
Huge. So one chooses to walk away. My first question is, why are we looking at that as something that's negative? The walk away could have been part of the agreement. You know, to have something that you were standing on and then all of a sudden have the foundation gone or have the shoulder that you were crying on gone. That could be part of the agreement. When we look at really important relationships that we've created in our lives, and I'm talking about the glorious ones and the very difficult ones, the important ones, so they cover all emotions of the rainbow, this kind of person is a very evolved spirit to you in the afterlife. I was trying to choose my words right there. Because the ones who give us the greatest loves and the most pain in this life are equally a great spirit connection to you in the afterlife. They're really not an asshole in the other lifetime. In general, what they are for you is someone who loves you tremendously, and only with someone with great love could cause such pain and suffering in a human life for you to get what you needed out of it.
So, the jerks in this lifetime. Let me understand this correctly. Let's say I'm in a situation with someone who I don't find to be pleasant, and they're really this big asshole to me and jerk. And
Was it an important relationship? Like you've been in it for a
important
long?
relationship. I'm making this up.
Okay.
I'm not even giving an example of this.
She's just hashing it out.
And then
You're watching Colin.
when I die and I cross over, this person is waiting to hug and love me.
Yeah.
They're like one of the first people waiting. So when we cross
They might not be
over,
one of the first people,
all
but
the
when you
jerks.
find them,
That's what I'm
they're
picturing
like,
as you're talking.
the jerk lineup, where they're all like high-fiving
We
you
love
and loving
you.
you.
And you're sitting there going, what?
You made my life hell. You did this.
No.
Yes, no, they are in the afterlife and just going, I pulled that one for you. I did that for you. And you'll think, why in the hell would I ever choose something like that? But human life is a place where we can choose something like that. is different here. This is why human life is so special and beautiful.
So we have a question from Keith Dykes.
I move my hands a lot.
I believe he's a
Keith
friend of
Dykes!
Which, hi Keith, we've never met, but I hear your name all the time.
Yeah.
So, he says, hi love, Dad committed suicide last month. I know the answer, but can you speak about this and how we have demonized these people and their families?
Oh, it's terrible. Demonize, that's a great word. But yes, with suicide, sometimes this is the absolute agreement that they have made with themselves before they even choose to come in this life. Suicide is not, in my world, an unacceptable passing. It is a choice. And I think what people forget is that it takes more strength and more focus and more self-love. And I know many of you will think suicide is not a self-love thing. Suicide is a rescuing. It's a type, I need rescuing, I'm the one who can provide it, I'm going to do it for myself. And it's not, it's an answer, is what it is. But there are suicides out there that are not part of the agreement, that it's a free will choice, and they've done it maybe out of, begins with the letter R, revenge. They do it out of revenge to hurt somebody else. You know, I have seen those in younger kids, and that's not a healthy experience. And that does need some attention and some healing. But when there was a thoughtful process and their life was difficult, but they made the decision, that can very much be a part of their agreement. And then for everybody around who's watching it, I'm going to go back to there's no right and wrong. There's no need for you to come in and judge it. It's more of an accepting it for as it is. I was going to say something else, because that's probably why Eric is here. Before Eric he says hi to everybody again, and that was something he said he chose for himself. It was the answer, it was the way that he could heal. And, what was it? And their families. Keith, I love you so much.
My heart is bursting
reach
open.
out if you, yeah, we're here for you. A loss of a family member, their physical loss, is tremendous. But then to also have your community not understand how to support you because of the choice, the way the body was lost, is it's incomprehensible. Sending you some light.
Lots of love.
Yeah, there's no karma attached to that. That wasn't a punishment for him in some other lifetime. I have some of you were thinking like, oh, could karma be attached to that? No, karma's man-made.
Yoga Mama Jose. Hello, Yoga Mama.
Hey, Yoga Mama.
Can you explain exit points?
Exit points.
Are they real?
They are real.
Because that could be another thing that could be, that we could
Oh,
create.
that we could say man-made.
Mm-hmm.
We could. Nope. There are outs that we create in our life, and it's simply before you come to this physical body. You know the term a thin veil? You guys have heard that? The veil is thin, where the human life and the spiritual life is really, really touching and it's easy to access. That is it. That could be an out. It could be walking across the street, it could be choking on something, it could be something extremely simple, it could be a heart attack, a physical thing. But if you are consciously aware of yourself and you're giving yourself love and attention and you're growing, most likely you will never be able to identify what your outs even were. Some people have 1, 2 outs. I've seen people with like 8, 9. I'm thinking you're a cat
How do
somewhere.
we know how many outs we're having? Or
I think you can
it's not something
see
you just
that.
see on somebody, is it?
No, I don't
No.
really see that on their energetic plane. But I think if you were to tune in to like your Akashic record or to your map of the life that you kind of created and worked on, I think you'd be able to see it in that way. So they're created, you create them so you don't feel entrapped into the human body. I was thinking how many times I felt trapped. where was my exit?
I'm
Let's
thinking-
pause
I'm
on that for a
thinking about
second.
that statement.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So, before, let me explain my understanding of what you just said, and hopefully it will resonate with other people out there. Before we come here,
Mhm.
we have this agreement,
Agreement.
a flexible agreement,
Flexible agreement for lessons.
and we know that this life may be challenging for us.
Yes, well, it's
So,
Earth.
We choose all these exit points to take just in case.
Yeah, availabilities.
Hmm.
Free will. Yeah,
But availabilities. Where
availabilities.
I might only have one exit point in my whole life, and you might have 10.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case, but
I've gone through a few already.
we've all
And I
experienced
keep staying.
times in our lives where it's like, I probably should have died
Oh, yeah.
when that happened.
Mhm.
You know? Really?
Fine line. Crazy thing is, some of those might not even be an exit point. Some of those are just straight up part of your flexible agreement to learn a lesson. So I think the way to differentiate between was it agreement or an out is to look at the entire picture, not just what you were trying to gain or learn from it, but if there was no sense in it whatsoever, nothing came or grew from it, then you could probably say that was an exit. That was an exit, and there was no need for it. It didn't teach you anything beyond it. It was just a freak accident kind of a thing. It wasn't like you almost got hit by a car because you weren't paying attention and you were on your phone, like Pokemon hunting. That right there is probably part of a flexible agreement lesson. It's called pay attention. Live your life. If you're moving, I don't know, maybe put your phone down, get it out of your face, or just, keep it next to your ear.
Shanna Stein Schneider. That is a tongue twister. Shanna Stein Schneider. What about rainbow kids who are now here?
Love them.
Like my 10-year-old daughter, do they have a contract? From what I've read, they haven't been here before.
Ha ha ha. I'd like to find the energies who haven't been here before. But see, haven't been here before is signing up to the concept that time is linear. That we started here and gave birth to something and it's rolling and time never repeats itself again. But time has actually been stacked. And all of this is happening together, all your incarnations and all of everything. So if you're here on Earth right now, you're doing it somewhere else. Whether it's a different time frame, whether it was at the beginning of Earth's time, whether it's 10,000 years in the future, a one-off life I've never heard of. From what I understand, if you're agreeable to incarnate, then you incarnate in many different ways. You take your soul and you divide the parts of your soul, but it's the definition is holon, which is a piece that still remains part of the whole, and a whole in and of itself. So it's not considered a piece. It's a holon. It's a way of dividing and staying contained. And we have these incarnations to gain these lessons or enhancements, however you want to call them. But I've never come across someone who's new or only done it once. Just think about it, we're all from the same source. So in essence, if this division is being broken off for the first time, it's still not a new, because it's part of my soul, and my soul is part of all that is. Well, my soul is first part of my soul family, and then my soul family, my big group, is part of all that is. And there's probably other layers that I'm totally unaware of. It's just what I've learned and pieced together as I've been growing. But these rainbow kids, they come in with a completely different outlook. It is not the one that says, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to grow up and be a fireman and I'm going to have a savings account. And no, they come in and they're like, what's happening with humanity, man? What's going on? How come you're not sharing and equal? How come you're not balanced? They're totally worried and concerned about other things that society isn't even highlighting. And so society is looking at your kid, your rainbow kid, your crystal kid, and just going, we don't know how to deal with you. You probably need some medicine. Please don't medicate these children. They're beautiful and they're wonderful. And they're the ones who will help us get back into contact with how we're feeling.
They're our biggest teachers.
They are. They're amazing. So, yes, do they have a flexible agreement? I would say absolutely. They're here to shake us up and pay attention to how we feel. Not motivate us to perform, but get us back to the ma and pop world that we used to know so well.
So I've got a question from Karen Mask. She says, hi, Jamie.
Karen!
Do we have separate contracts, aka flexible agreements,
Let me,
with people that may have had multiple lives with us, or one master contract with different chapters? And I'll change to flexible agreements. So,
that was
Did you get that?
beautifully said. Oh, God, yes. Lumineers, did you get it? So if we are incarnating with someone multiple times, let's say Karen and I have this life together, but we also are incarnating in 5 other lives together. And since time is not linear and it's stacked, all 6 of our lives are happening at the same time. So do we have individual flexible agreements for every life, all 6 of them, or is there some master agreement that kind of oversees all our soul's connections in the many different lives? I have to dial a friend here. Wouldn't that be? I need like a hotline phone. Beep boop boop. Grace. Grace, help me out with this one. I love her voice. She always makes, even if you're in high stress and you're meditating with Grace, she's like, hey, you know, hello, my love. She's so plain and just makes you feel so good. So Karen, Grace is describing that in some cases, when the 2 lives are like a twin soul or twin flame, soulmate, these are people who have incarnated in different lives the most with each other, the highest volume of interaction. Those do require what you're calling, she says, a master kind of agreement. So that way that there's more clarity between all the interconnections and all the lives that you're choosing to interact with in achieving what lessons the 2 of you want to learn and come across. She hopes that helps, but she says even if there are 2 souls that incarnate frequently, they don't necessarily need a stronger overseeing, like a master agreement, because what they're doing is highlighting individual lessons or agreements. And she says hello to you, Karen. What do you think?
I'm looking.
Ding! Hit the bell.
I was so just enthralled in what you were saying, Grace. I wasn't thinking.
I have never heard of that before. So that was learning curve.
I lost it, but somebody asks, is that what near-death experiences are? Are they exit points? Are they always exit points? Always.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I can't find who said it, but I saw the question.
Thank you for bringing up near-death experience.
Here we go. It was Veronica.
Love you, Keith Dykes.
So many.
And Rob.
Hi, Eric's. Hello, Eric. I have to refresh my feed, everybody.
We've
Jamie,
got
if you've got...
the Grace, and we've got Eric, and Maitland was floating around before. There's actually a ton of other spirits here in the room too, but those are the big talkers.
This is a good question from Allison. Are our guides just ours, or are they guides for others as well? For example, is Grace only your guide, or is she the guide to others?
Grace, take it away.
Grace has a lot of people.
I want one day someone to make a microphone, and I'm just like, oh, Grace, you speak now, and just hold the mic for her to talk. So great. No, Grace says hello to Allison, and she's stating that you found me? She goes, though I found Jamie. I didn't think I was lost. Right, I was in my mid-20s. Yeah, I was writing my book, and that's when I met Grace. And she says when I found Jamie, I she does not, she was just repeat what I say. It's probably why she likes to channel
Don't
through
mistranslate
me
me.
and not let me translate for her. She says, I work with Jamie, but it does not mean that I am only, and she uses the word contracted to Jamie. And she says, also, Allison, I'd like for you to understand spirits outside of a human body. Whereas a human body, if you are taking on someone as a job, she said you might only have enough focus for one person. And she said, in spirit, I'm able to divide my attention and spread my attention to many. And she goes, that allows me to take on many people and guide them, speak with them on a day-to-day basis. I mean, that's an offhanded joke. She made a joke with, this is how God is.
Grace is funny.
Yeah. She
She's
says,
funny.
God, and her definition of God is very broad. God is present for everyone. And anyone who is in spirit has that same ability to be present for everyone. And she says, now, Allison, imagine how many people are on earth. Imagine being present for all of them when you're human. She says it's impossible to wrap your head around. But in spirit, she says it's quite possible, and that's what she enjoys doing for people. So I'm talking now, so for Jamie's talking. When you ask, though, guides in general, are they just for you? No. They have their own lives. They know other people that they want to take care of. They check in on others. And that's even with family members as well. So my grandfather doesn't just watch over me. He watches over my brother and all my other cousins and all his daughters and his wife and his friends. I mean, he still talks about his friends from church, and he gets around. So we share. I don't have to. Grace goes, you don't get the right to share me. She says, I get the right to choose myself. Well, there you have it. I'll just stop right there, Allison.
This is a comment from Mercedes Marat.
Hey, Mercedes.
She says, I love your dictionary idea. I recently wrote a book titled Grief with Ease, which, if you have a link,
We would
Post
love
it,
to post
yes.
that link.
because this is what she has stated. When she was writing her book, one of the biggest issues was using words that were not in today's dictionary. These words were vibrationally betterment of a word my son used quite often was oftentimes. I'm not sure if I read that. But, so she's saying she couldn't find the right words for her book. I would love for her to post
Send
a
us
link to her
your
book.
link. We would love to get that. It's one of the things for me that holds me back from teaching is not having the language. And I will talk in circles in my class just to get a point across. And if we can start creating a higher vibrational language, Lumineer vocabulary, it would be it would light a fire under our feet to be able to drop some of the trigger meanings to the words we have today and be able to increase our energy. I'm with you. Maybe, wonder if we can start it on a Facebook. Oh my God, you guys started a Facebook. You have a
did.
Lumineers Facebook
We
page.
did.
I
forget who started
I
it.
lost
Was
it, and
Yoga?
I was just like so touched. I was like, oh my God, let's pull these people together.
I'm going to get the link and I'll post it on here later.
Yes.
But some of the Lumineers started a Facebook group for other Lumineers to get together and to find out where everybody's living and possibly get together locally.
Yes,
which is
let's support each other.
amazing. And whoever started the group, if you are on here right now, post the link to the group. I think it's called Lumineers Unite.
I
Yeah.
love it so much.
That's awesome.
I'm joining the group.
Why do I feel like it was Yoga Mama? I don't know if I am remembering that correctly, but if it was you, post the link. Marshawn.
Hey,
Hey, Marshawn. So Marshawn wants to know, was it your contract, and I'm going to relabel it,
Yeah.
flexible agreement, to do what you do
Yes.
in this lifetime?
It was my agreement. and I have, Marshawn crazy enough in many of my other lives, the same freaking agreement. It was crazy. When I went through the phase of doing past life regressions with hypnotherapy, I'd come out of it and I'd be like, am I just making this up? It kind of sounds like what I'm doing and struggling in this life, like coming away from not using my abilities to being in my abilities. Prophets and fortune tellers and, I was palm reading and stuff like that. I'm like, crap, I can't get away from
I'd
it.
love to see a little snapshot of you in all those different career paths. Like Jamie.
Maybe I can have a
Jamie,
costume day
fortune
and
teller
I'll,
of the 1700s.
I'll dress up in those lives that I can identify.
I love it. Well, I think it's time for us to sign off.
No. Oh, God, no. Guys, where are we going?
Do you have any last
Is there an
minute-
after party after this?
last minute little wrap-ups?
Well, I was going to say, stay in contact with us. Send us your thoughts, your titles for shows. If you like this conversation answer thing, I'm all for it. I think it's extremely helpful because I know what I want to teach. And I'm listening to these crazy guys, but it doesn't help me understand exactly what you want to learn. And really, it's not learning, it's just remembering because we actually know everything. It was so amazing. And thank you for lending me your ears and staying with us. The difference between man-made and spiritual truth, or let's say true reality truth, there should be another word for that too, is let's look at what we construct as humans and what we need as humans and compare that to what we really need when we're in spirit. And I think you'll start being able to kind of peel away what we're using as identifiers or even excuses as humans to understand complex energies and make them digestible. The idea of contract, the idea of, being judged and being placed and being rewarded or being punished or having karma, just knowing somebody has got our back to the people who've done the bad stuff, that, allows us to feel safe and productive as humans. But we don't really need it, because what we're trying to do is grow with enlightenment, we're trying to evolve, and these conversations that we're having today are helping us do that. So I really appreciate you guys showing up. We love you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for inviting me to sit in with you.
Grace says Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Eric says, just see you later. Bye, guys.